I'm Rob Lempert. I am president of the Society for Decision Making Under Deep Uncertainty, which is a sponsor of this meeting. Let me just first off welcome and thank all you for joining. And let me also do a shout out to Edmundo and Alexandro and their entire team at the School of Government for just putting on what has been a really fabulous meeting, and under these trying circumstances. This is our we've been doing these meetings since 2013, and this is obviously the first one that's been virtual, and they just did a great job. Just so you know, our applause to Edmundo and his team. So I just want to talk a little bit about the society. Let me get my slides up. And then Jan Kwakkel, I'm the vice president of the societies, will be joining soon, but there's apparently been he's having some technical difficulties getting on, which I had as well. So I hope that none of that slowed you guys down too much. But we started these annual meetings on decision making under deep uncertainty about 7 years ago now. First one was at the World Bank. Then after a couple of years of doing these meetings, it started out with a small group, about 20 or 30 people, and it's grew sufficiently so that we put together this society to both put some institutional structure around the annual meetings and to expand what it is this community does. So this is our mission statement for the society. Interdisciplinary association of professionals working to improve process, methods, and tools for decision-making under deep uncertainty, develop the tools, facilitate their use, and improve decision-making in our rapidly changing world. And we have really two main goals. We want to be a service organization for the members of the organization, the community of people who do decision-making under deep uncertainty analysis, our users. And then we want to be a disseminating organization to take these ideas, which we regard as pretty exciting and useful, particularly in times like these. We're all living through deep uncertainty right now, but get these ideas out there and get them out to use. And so the society is our vehicle for doing that. Let me see. Great, good. And just to give you a little bit of little survey of how we're doing. We have our website, which I'm sure you've all visited, and it does pretty well. These are users. We get several thousand unique users this year. We've got a lot of hits, and we have a pretty good dissemination. This is our first meeting that's been held outside the U.S. and Western Europe. We had hoped to gather in Mexico, and hope that this spurs outreach to Latin America. And I think we're going to try to gather next year in person in Mexico. But we've doing a pretty good job of touching many corners of the globe, though some clearly are more overrepresented than others here. The membership has grown. We set up the society about 5 years ago. It was about 100. We're about 10 times larger. On the right, you see we generally get big spurts of membership. Sort of right after, right before, and then sometimes right after the meeting. Our annual meeting, though this year we seem to get a lot of membership when the world totally surprised us, and presumably people became quite interested in deep uncertainty. Our diverse set of members, climate and environment, energy, water is sort of at the center of what we do, and the community that set up this society largely comes from those areas. So we've been expanding and growing into others, and then something we very much hope to do. And as you saw at this meeting, we try to touch on a whole variety of different areas. we're about, we try very much to balance scholars, academics, and practitioners, and we do a pretty good job, a third of each, and then about a third who self-identify as both. But every year we've tried to do these word clouds of the words that appear most often in the abstracts of the talk. So this is our 2020 word cloud. So uncertainty, DMDU, robust, making, decisions, deep, leap out, a little bit of pathways, decarbonization, strategies, resilience, Mexico. So these are the words that were used most often this time around. Water. Here's the clouds for the meetings. The first 4 meetings. So at the very beginning, decision, robust, planning, analysis, future. As we go on through 2016, there's the word. There we go for the last 3. Sort of a lot of commonalities, but they get richer as you go along. And there is this one for comparison. And again, is Jan on yet? Because he put together these Scopus slides, and so I will try to talk to him.
He has just disappeared.
Okay, all right. Jan went into Scopus, looked at robust decision making, climate change adaptation, tipping points, and these are all topics. So DMDU has is now a recognized topic in Scopus, and this puts together where the publications come from. Again, a lot from US, Europe, and a lot from New Zealand and Australia, and then a scattering around the rest of the world. So we have a geographic core. We are working to expand, and we're starting to make a real impact in the literature. We're up to about 150 publications per year that address deep uncertainty, cover a wide range of topics. The book, the Deep Uncertainty book that Warren Vincent and Stephen edited, came out last year. Now it's about 300,000 downloads, which is pretty impressive. So anybody who doesn't have their copy should grab it. And it goes through both the theory and the practice of decision making under deep uncertainty, with lots of examples. One of the society, traditionally does a lot of in-person things at our own meetings and meetings around the world. So we obviously had to shift a lot this year. So 2 of our big focuses this year were 2 ad hoc committees, one on digital training and one on DMDU checklists. So as we've heard in many of the discussions, people are really interested in learning more about how to do these techniques, how do we disseminate these techniques. So Stephen Popper led a group, Matt Chesney, George DiMartino, Jenny Hoffman, and Peter Bishop, and they put together a strategy for expanding distance learning of DMDU concepts and methods. So the idea is we'll have one package for DMD users, others for or potential users, people interested in the users, another for analysts. And they'll have short videos, reading case studies, and links to additional resources. And so we're going to put together this package. It's essentially a society product in order to get these methods more broadly disseminated. And so the strategy document is going to go up on our website by early December, and implementing this is going to be a project this coming year. And very much look forward to and eager to get volunteers to help with this, which is actually really an exciting effort. So I'm really thrilled about that. For those who attended the session on the first day that Stefan Hall got and Julie Rosenberg ran on resilience guidelines, we have sort of a related effort on the DMDU checklist, which is if you wanted to know what would be in a DMDU analysis, for instance, if you were writing an RFP and wanted to know, be able to specify what should be in a DMDU analysis, or what, how you would actually do one if you're trying to do it, we just come up with a checklist of basic elements of what is in a DMDU analysis and a list of frequently made mistakes, so you can help people kind of avoid those. We've got this checklist up on our website for our society, and we've decided to make that an appointed position to just work with the new president. So here are our candidates. We have candidates for all our positions on the leadership team, and we even have contested elections for some of them, which is great. And so, feel free to, these people all have candidate statements on our website, and also feel free to reach out to them and chat. Would love to just get your thoughts and questions, ideas for what society's been doing, where it should be going. Just open up the floor to, if we were in person, we would ask people to raise their hands to see who is attending this meeting for the first time. So we can do that in the chat. It's a bit cacophonous, but if you're here for the first time, just why don't you stick that in the chat and say, hi, I've been here first time, great. Welcome, Ned.
Thank you, Rob. I'll ask a question.
Oh, that'd be great. That would be great. That's the main idea of getting you to stick stuff in the chat box. Please do.
Okay. So I work at NOAA, and a lot of people here are interested in climate and using climate models. And I've observed that there seems to be a sense that climate models represent realizations of possible futures in a roughly equivalent way. That's not really what people said, and I really don't mean to overstate it, but
yeah,
I wonder if there would be interest, or it might be an opportunity to bring in some climate scientists to talk about the performance of climate models in different circumstances. For example, representing ocean atmosphere interactions that work better in one model than in another, and so forth and so on. And that since this community is so much using those data, I wonder if that would be an area where the education committee might want to do some outreach.
No, that's a great idea. I mean, in some of the meetings in which DMDU people participate, we get exactly into that topic, and for instance, a number of us on the call, and I see Pat Reed is on the call, have participated in a meeting held by the California Department of Water Resources last fall, I believe it was. One of the sort of last meetings you got to go to before everything shut down, but where that was exactly one of the topics of what do different climate models do well, what do they do poorly, how would you which ones would you look at more as various sorts of adaptive plans were evolving, and a number of us are involved in the IPCC Sixth Assessment Report, and those sorts of discussions are there as well. We've never done that directly in that I recall in one of these meetings, but that would actually be a really great topic. And I think sort of the whole issue of signposts for adaptive strategies, adaptive pathways, what sorts of, and then sort of, what sort of information is in climate models that might not be, we might not be grabbing appropriately, because, people tend to look at, more static or best estimate sort of strategies, and what information is there that can form other sorts of decision making is a topic of great interest. So that's a long way of saying yes, great idea. Other questions? Here, we're getting some good, let's see, good stuff in the chat. Okay, so Jim Malby had a question, then it just jumped up. Okay, asked about the growing emphasis on deliberation side of things. Is that a growing trend? Anecdotally, Jim, yeah, no, I mean, that seems to be, that's always been of interest in, to the key interest of the DMDU community, is that, using models and analytics to facilitate deliberation rather than telling people what to do. So that's always been a strong theme. I think we're starting to see more of it, though that would actually be an interesting thing to try to develop some data to actually look for and examine trends. But as the as the capabilities grow and as we get into more areas, I think there's often more opportunities to get into some of these deliberative activities. So the answer is yes, I think so. On COVID, I'd be interested to see what people say. I don't have a good sense of the extent to which people have taken some of these techniques and gotten into engaged with decision makers trying to manage COVID policies. I mean, in principle, decision makers around the world are trying to implement adaptive strategies, sometimes very explicitly so, other times not. But I mean, certainly here in California, there's a whole series of indicators, and the governments say, you can open up this much if you hit these indicators and have to close down if you hit those indicators, which is an adaptive strategy. But I'm not sure the extent to which this community has been engaged with people, though I know there was be interested to hear people's thoughts on that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please do.
Thank you. There's a lot of PhD candidates, PhD researchers in DMDU, and I, myself being one of them. One of the things I'm a little bit worried about is, if I don't find a position in academic research after my PhD, I'll have to at some point transition to industry or to the public sector or whatever. But explaining DMDU concepts and sort of getting some value out of this PhD that I've done during that transition is something that I find quite daunting, and that I've also spoken to other PhDs about that they are struggling with. Do you think the society could do something for the younger researchers as well, specifically looking at that transition?
Yes, I mean, so let me parse that to two pieces. So yes and yes, but one is the communication challenge, which I think has come up a lot in this meeting. And there was Andy Revkin hosted a great webcast yesterday where people started to come to the idea maybe we should, the society can take a lead. Come up with, in some sense, like, think of like little index cards, which, what is the value added of DMDU, and just boiling it down to really simple points. And then, all the complicated stuff comes underneath that, but just really do a better job of boiling down what are some of the key ideas, and then how can those influence. Then the other part is the career, helping with career development. And we do have a career development chair in the society, and we've taken some surveys, but to date we've really not done too much more than try to post job opportunities and send those around, and that sort of thing. So I think that is probably in the next leadership team something we should delve into a little bit more about, what sorts of services and that the society could usefully provide. So Patrick, maybe if you don't mind, we can reach out to you and kind of get some of your ideas about what might be really useful.
Sure.
Can I ask a question?
Well, yeah, please.
Just make a comment. So just to build on my post and add a little bit to Patrick's point is, so for some time we've been trying to integrate DMDU thinking into the Ministry of Defence in the UK and UK government, and I think the COVID experience has helped kind of facilitate some of that. So we've been chipping away and making progress, and actually I think it's really helped. So for example, your the great webinar with you and Jan when you were chatting with Andrew, I think I can't remember when it was, and we were able to provide Jan's great pandemic kind of research paper and analysis just to demonstrate, there is a different way of doing things than how you traditionally do it, and I feel like there's in the UK, from my experience, that we're in a place where actually we might be on the cusp of getting a lot more traction than we ever have had for a long time.
Okay. Oh, great. Okay. We might collect those stories a bit.
Okay, I think we have time for another question, Rob,
Okay.
Because the other sessions are about to begin as well.
Okay. Doug Mason says that they've done some done work assessing which are the most important barriers to broad application of DMDU methods. A little bit of that, I don't think there's been a sort of serious barriers study, which might be another really good idea.
I just want to emphasize the voting. I'm the election chairman, and I hope
Yes.
you do vote. Join the society if you're not a member and vote.
Great. Yes. Thanks, Warren.
Thank you, Rob.
The election is rigged, thoroughly corrupt. Voting online.
And
Revote.
I've got 2 emails.
No, not rigged. Fake news.
all right, and perhaps just to wrap this up, we don't have an opportunity to do a photograph of participants this year, so it might be a good idea to use this opportunity to do so. So if you could just turn on your video, those are in proper conditions, we will appreciate it very much. And that's the way we're going to do our photograph this year.
Okay, great.
So nice to see all of you.
Yeah, great to see
Says here that I
everybody.
can't start my video because the host has stopped it.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
Hi, all right. All right, great.
I just see a lot of Rob. Do you see anything differently?
Yes, hit gallery view.
Okay.
Yeah, then that'll change your perspective entirely.
Holy smokes. You guys are better looking than I remembered.
Okay.
All right, photos are made.
Great.
We don't want to hold you anymore. Good luck
Great.
in the final sessions of the day.
Great. Thanks all.